Hello everybody, this is Joseph Propati, and today I'm going to be covering my new game, CIA Sniper. So this is a PNP that I currently, or will soon have, all the files and the rules on Board Game Geek. But I want to put a couple of videos together. One, to show you all the components, do the setup, and then I'll be doing some playthroughs, just so I can explain the rules, show how the game plays. It's a game that I had on BGG a while back. It was titled Contract Killers, and I got some feedback on that. I thought renaming it would be a little bit better and make it, a little bit more presentable to everyone and not have such a dark tone. So now, as CIA Sniper, it's more of a the premise of the game is more of you are a beginning sniper in the CIA. You were recruited, you were trained, and you are now going to be doing contracts across the globe for foreign entities, trying to take out terrorists, bad guys, drug cartel leaders, dictators. And you'll be working with these foreign agencies where they will have contracts, and you will be paid by these contracts, and you will also earn skill points based on how accurate your shot was when you take out these targets. So the win conditions of the game are, and the game is still kind of evolving, but right now it's 10 contracts, and as long as you can get 10 contracts before you get captured, you win the game. And then it's see how well you did based on point wise. It's one, to see how high your skill levels are, because there are 6 different skills that can increase from 1 to 6. And then there's money or price for each contract that you earn. So it's how much money you've earned, and that will kind of give you an idea how well you did in the game. So in this video, this first video, I'm going to talk about all the components, and then I'm going to set up the game, and then I will go into doing some rules and playthroughs. So what you see here are all the components of the game. Everything will be available on BGG as a print and play. It's a card and dice rolling game. I do have a new mechanic. I had another game and I kind of evolved this mechanic where to see how accurate you are on a shot, there's a bunch of different parameters. You have your skills, you have dice that you'll roll, you have modifiers that affect it, and basically you will close into this center area to see how accurate you are on the shot. If you get in this dead center, that would be the most accurate. If you can get in the face zone, or you can get within the head, you actually made the shot. And based on how close you are, if you got a dead center, you'll earn 3 skill points from that. If you get in the face area, that's 2, and then if you're in this head area, then you'll earn 1. So that's how many skill points you can get based on how accurate your shot is. But this is, and you'll see it on the playthrough, how this new mechanic I kind of came up with, and it's a large premise of the game. So, so this is the shot analysis board. That's one of the components. Then you have your full global map, and you'll see on here you have white circles, red circles, and yellow circles. So white, red, and yellow. And these paths. And so what these are, they're represented by cities across the globe. The yellow cities are where you can pick up your contracts, and you'll see that these lead to these 6 contract spaces. So during the game you always have 6 contracts available, but these yellow cities are the only spots where you can pick up that contract and accept it. The red are where the contract target will be. So you'll pick it up from a yellow city, and then you'll have to figure out which city, which will show on the contract. You'll have to move to that city, and then you'll have to purchase a legal stamp, show that you have access to that city, to perform that shot and complete the target. And then the white are just path zones that you can follow. This gives you a list of all the cities and their locations, right? And then down here you have your weather conditions. So the way you track turns on the contracts is you have 2 and 3 and 4 and 6 turns to complete the contract. And that's tracked by weather. You'll have weather cards that go from really good weather down to extreme weather, but you'll lay those out based on how many weather cards there are for the contract, and then that helps you keep track of the turn. So that's what will be placed down here. Then over here you'll see that this has these Interpol agents. This is changed to now enemy agents. I didn't need to update this, but there's up to a max of 4 enemy agents that will be tracking you on the across the globe. So you start out with one agent trying to track you down and capture you. As you increase in completion of your contracts, more agents will start to hunt you down. So if you have 3 contracts completed, another enemy agent will come on, so you'll have 2. Once you get to 6 contracts you complete, you'll have 3 tracking you down, and when you get to 9, you'll have all 4 of them. And it becomes a cat and mouse game of trying to figure out how they're going to move, because they are always going to move to go the closest or the quickest path to get to you, and then you have to try and figure out the best route to get around them or avoid them. And if you can't, then you'll have to use a skill of evade, or you might just have to take that agent out. So this is the map board, and this large part of the game happens on here. And then you have your character sheet. Now with your character sheet, you'll see they have these 6 skill sets, right? And there's a spot here for a dice, and these all start at 1. And as you take your accept contracts and complete them, based on how accurate the shot is, you can increase these skill levels. So let's say you had a contract, you completed it, but you only got a headshot, you'd get 1 skill point, and you'd be able to raise one of these dice up 1. If you had a dead center shot and you got 3 skill points, you'd be able to raise 3 of these different skill sets by 1. You can't use 3 all on one skill set. It can only increase one skill set, but you can do 3 of them. And the better you get at those skills, you know, disguise, travel, ballistics, marksmanship, target planning, and positional shooting, will increase your modifiers and how you affect your shot. So this is a direct correlation of how this shot will be created and planned and then executed. So you always want to increase these levels because they affect those 6 parameters. And then there's also bonuses that you can get as you get to either 3rd level or 6th level with the skills. And I'll show you that too. Over here you'll see, that's where the bonus modifiers go here. And then you have your stamps. These pertain to the 6 yellow spaces on the map board. You already have access to these, legal access, so you can get into these countries. When you're moving, you can move everywhere. Yellow, red, white. But when you're taking a shot at a contract target, you need to purchase the passports, which are these, for those specific cities. And those cost $50,000. So as you go into a city, and let's say you're going to, this target was in Canada, Winnipeg, Canada, you would need to pick up the passport for Winnipeg, Canada to complete that contract. So, but as you're moving, you won't need it. It's only to get into that city while you're completing the contract. So that's where your passports would go. It'd be like your passport stamps. So this is your character sheet. And then we have, these are the 6 color D6. These go on to the character sheet, and then those would be placed here. Right? And then we have, for the shot analysis board, we have 6 white dice. These are the ones that would be rolled and then placed on the outer rim. Then we have our 6 colored cubes, and these are representations of, these represent the skill sets. So orange for disguise, yellow for travel, red for ballistic, blue for marksmanship, green for target planning, and purple for positional shooting. Those get set up on this perimeter, and that's what you move to see where the accuracy of that shot is. So these are the components for the shot analysis board. Then we have, again, these were the stamps for the character card. These are your skill modifier counters. They're double-sided. So you'll see that they have, at level 3, you can earn this modifier, and then when you get to level 6, then you get a +2 modifier, and then I'll explain what each one of these are and how they pertain to either a contract or moving or how they affect the gameplay. But these are modifiers that you can earn as you go up in skill points. We have currency, right? You have 4 different currencies. There's 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, and a million. It's a large currencies in these, but everything's based on either 50,000 or 100,000 increments. So that's your currency in the game. This is what you get paid in, and this is what you use to buy stamps, to help with shots. If you are off on your shot, you can pay money, which would represent you putting in more resources to help affect that shot. Or if there was an agent that you had to take out, an enemy agent, you can use money to, again, facilitate that shot to take that individual out. So there's different things that you can use money for. These are the 4 enemy agents that would go on the map board. You yourself have a black player piece, and that's what you'll use to move around the board. This red token is what you use to track the weather days, and it kind of keeps track of your turns for your contract. So if you have a 6-turn contract, you'll use this and move it along the days. So not only does it tell you what day condition will be for that shot on that day, but it'll also tell you how many turns you have left. So that's what this token's for. And then we get into the cards. So weather condition cards. There's 3 types of weather condition cards. So you have the green, which are the really good, sunny and maybe partially cloudy. Then you have the yellow, which are kind of mild to bad. And then these red are like your serious ones, which are like rain and thunder and lightning, snow, and these make your shots very difficult. And how these work are they're modifiers, and they'll affect the parameters of the skill. So you may have to subtract 1, which would be a direct effect on the shot analysis board. So as you're moving these counters, you might have one that says subtract 1 from ballistics and position shooting, and that will have a minus. So as your skill are increasing, you're moving towards the center. If the weather's bad, it will move away from the center. And then again, if you have good ones, they will add to those. You might add 1 to disguise, ballistic, marksmanship, and positional shooting, and those would all get moved toward the center. So weather has a big to-do with how it affects your shot. The better the weather, the more it helps your shot, and the worse the weather, then the worse conditions are to take that shot. But these are your weather conditions, and these are directly related to what will happen and the number of days you have in the contract. We have event cards. This event deck, every turn there's a new event, and these are global events. Some are good, some are bad. They can benefit you or hurt you, but these will have some type of effect every turn. They might add a modifier. They might cause the city that you need to take your shot in to be closed, locked down because there's enemy agents there, and that way you can't take shots. Some will say there might be a city where you need to actually accept a contract. That might be closed down, so you won't be able to pick up a contract from there, but they just have an effect on that turn, and then the next turn you'll draw a new one. But so these are the event cards, and then last but not least are your contract cards. So there's 27 of these, and these are what earn you the money, right? And they kind of cover the spectrum of how good and bad the shot will be. It has specific parameters when you look at the card. So like on this one, you'll have the target name, a little bit of description of who he is. The location will be this city where you'll have to take the shot. So you will pick up this contract in one location, and then you'll have to move your token to this city because that's where the shot has to take place. And the longer you spend in that city, it gives the agents a chance to zero down to where your position is. So if you, like here, time frame, 4 turns, right? 4 turns is going to be represented by 4 different weather cards. And here you have weather. So this is going to show weather 3, which means the 4 days that it's going to take, or 4 turns it's going to take to, it could take to make the shot. You could do it the first turn, or it could be the 4th. But these are all going to be pretty serious weather conditions. But since it's a price of 100,000, it's a very beginner target to go after, and it has these plus modifiers. So again, we have the city that it needs to take place in, the weather conditions. Those are the weather cards you will draw, and you'll draw 4 of them because there's 4 turns. The contract has to be completed in those 4 turns, or you got to take a negative. You get one more chance to try and do the shot again, but it's at half the price. And then you have the price of it, and then these parameters right here, the site, the range, and the cover. These will have a modifier from +2 all the way down to -2. So you could have +2, +1, 0, -1, or -2. These have a modification to the dice roll, and that I'll get into when you're doing your shot analysis. So these will be plus to the dice roll based on whether the highest roll or the lowest roll, and negatives will be taken from the highest roll. So if you have a +2, like all these pluses, you would take the lowest rolls and add two to it. Then you would take the next lowest roll, add 2 to it, and then the third lowest roll, and then add 2 to it. And then that would have an effect on how close you're getting to your actual target zone. So these are the contracts. They're all different. The price ranges go from 100,000 all the way up to 1 million. And you'll see that, like, if you have one that's 1 million, it has very high negative modifiers. There's some in between. You have 200,000. So you got 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, and 1 million. 5 different price ranges for these contracts. And the lower the price, the easier the modifiers, or the better the modifiers. See, 100, you have these modifiers. The higher the price, then the tougher the shot, or the more it affects the shot in a negative way. So these negatives. And then the range, like I said, weathers can be 1, 2, or 3, just like we have on the weather cards. But you could also have multiples where you'll have weather conditions from 1 and 2. So they kind of cover different ranges of weather. But these are all the contracts. Again, to win the game, you need to complete 10 of these. And if you ever run out of this deck, you lose the game. So you don't want to wait too long, because during the game, contracts can possibly get taken by other agents and removed from the game. So these are finite. Once they're out, game's over. Again, the conditions to win: 10 contracts before you get captured. And then the parameters of that win is how high your skill points are, and then how much money you made. Losing the game is if you get captured by an agent, the game's over, or if you run out of contracts. So those are kind of all the parameters and components and a little bit about gameplay on the game CIA Sniper.